Hey, it is your buddy, Peace and Harmony with you here today. Much love going out to all the beautiful, empowered harmonizers. We are zooming in and focusing in on a great viewer question, and that is, why am I constantly a target for a narcissist at work? This is a great viewer question, and it kind of parlays on some of the other recent viewer questions that we've been getting surrounding other relationship issues that surround toxic individuals, such as those who are narcissistic or psychopath. And so, why is it that they sort of target, individuals? Why really? It kind of boils down to a couple important energetic components. Really, if we kind of sift through the sand, if you will, and the sediment, what is the sort of nucleus of it? It's to understand that a narcissist will target individuals if they need a specific individual to sort of buffer or cushion them in their insecurities. So they need relationships other than for a typical coming together of fondness, affection, love. They have an attachment issue, an attachment disorder. So, meaning attachment to others, how they relate to others, how they create and forge communication and relationships with others. So this is called in psychology known as attachment, having an attachment figure, someone who you connect with, bond with, hit it off with, are friends with. It's easy peasy breezy, whatever it is, you guys get along well. There's a chemistry, it doesn't have to be perfection, but, when we talk really about relationships, a narcissist is bringing something energetically different to the table than just easy breezy and this sort of innocence or I want to learn about you. The narcissist, as I say in relationships, rather than pleased to meet you, it's pleased to meet me. Pleased to meet me, isn't it? I mean, it's not about really getting to know other people. It's about what you can provide them as a service, as a front man, as a front woman, as a wing man, as a wing girl, as a wing boss, as a wing colleague, as a decoy, as someone who they can sort of pivot around, play off against, split and triangulate, use for their own advancement, especially in the workplace. And so it's to understand that these individuals have an attachment disorder. It's not what you could consider normal or normal expectations. Meaning, what would we expect for this person at work? What would we sort of have as a standard? What is our sort of benchmark? And so if someone at work who is narcissistic, they're really sort of trying to get ahead. And they're not afraid to leave people in the dust. They're not afraid to leave people in their wake. In other words, you might be in the dust 6 months from now, you might be in the dust 5 years from now. But eventually, unless, this narcissist, you're like a real hardcore primary supply to them who they sort of lean on and then create dependency on. It's their substitute for healthy, productive relationships at the workplace. It is their substitute for this. It's what they basically set up and pivot into place. In other words, they start getting leverage. They start getting moving parts. They start getting like the hands of a clock, the gears of a clock. They start getting a circle going on over here, a circle going on over here, and a circle going on over here, so they can play off to the various people that they need to play off to. And, whether it's a man playing off, a woman playing off of a man to be cutesy or whatever, there's usually going to be just sort of what seems like innocent humor, but really doesn't become innocent because this person will use these sort of superficialities to get ahead, for special favors, special interviews, finding out what's going on before job openings, finding out about stuff before it's released. You weren't supposed to be in that email group, but you're getting this info anyway. So they're looking for just sort of pockets that they can either hide out in or prove some sort of authority. So they'll create sort of a power vacuum where there was none. So they'll create, a position of authority for themselves where there is none. So it's just sort of like an assumed authority, and that they just come sort of waltzing in and then just like, this is how it's going to be. I'm here. Pleased to meet me, isn't it? So once again, and so why do they pick on you? Because if they see that they're either not getting that sort of reactiveness, they're going to either try to provoke, or they can, really they do take people as sort of people that they vent on or vent about to create a new position of authority. In other words, here's someone who's unassailable, who has done nothing wrong, but they can sort of, create paranoia and, try to find fault with your work, finding fault that you didn't know something, minuscule, minute, so what, we're all here to learn. One of those situations, and then they're sort of like reporting you, and it's like, we've never reported this in the 20 years that I've worked here, this, and then the manager's like, this is silly, but anyway, or whatever, it's just, where there's no problems, they're going to sort of create and stir things up, and they will, they sort of use others as their ploy and as sort of a pivot point to leverage relationships for how it serves them and it puts them in a good light. In other words, they're looking for people who can, it's the old brush up their ego, talk great things about them, put in a good word. I mean, these people will be, more than less than humble, about asking for their own self-promotion, their own, self, what's known as, it's not even in a healthy, it becomes an extreme. It becomes abnormal. So if you're targeted by these individuals, realize that the cost to you will be enormous. I mean, so you need to stay out of the general traffic, and you don't need to play the games, sort of trying to play you against somebody. Don't jump into that sort of politicking, what can become ultimately politicking, and don't, it's the old, how nice is too nice. So you have to be careful, because oftentimes they're looking for those people who can be, too nice and then get walked on. Can you do this? Can you please pick up this crumb that I just left on this table? And then pretty soon, there's not a comfortable place to draw the line. The lines get blurred, and then you, with any sort of credibility, then gets lost or tested, and then your identity becomes sort of eroded, and you didn't even do anything. It's just all of a sudden this very caustic situation. Caustic meaning it becomes toxic or sort of flammable. I mean, it can be a very flammable, sort of inflamed atmosphere that can be very unpleasant and uncomfortable. Where it's just like, you've got almost, you feel that your skin is crawling, or you're just, you're uncomfortable. You're muscling, you're armoring your muscles. You start throwing your arm out, or you start, holding on on too hard in one area of your body. And I can't impress on you all enough how important it is for you to understand the mechanics of your body when it comes to dealing with anxiety. And it comes to, that energy sort of polarity in your body. When you are stressed and under anxiety, especially at the workplace, this is where you don't want to run into trouble. I mean, you don't want to run into trouble anywhere. I mean, but namely, your home and your workplace, and it's important, because if you feel that they're sort of looming, a narcissist will create a sort of atmosphere of manipulation where they pit one people against another. They will pit people against themselves. They'll create doubt and concern and paranoia where there should be none. And they do this through this sort of assumption of superiority or that they are an authority. It's assumptive. They just come waltzing in, and it's like, I'm here to save the day. And it's like they don't even see really who else is there, or, they just sort of try to rearrange things according to them in the central. And, it can become a power vacuum where if it goes unchecked, it'll create chaos. It'll create a lot of people having to follow up with this person. Hey, this, that, we don't need to make a big deal out of it. And until they start then creating groups around these other, people of influence or importance, trying to pull a manager, a supervisor, a director, a C-level, an IT, whatever it is, they will try to sort of move and create arrangements. I mean, it's like they try to create these master arrangements, that, and so you're walking into their web. You don't even feel that you're walking into your own workplace. It's just like they will, just be very possessive of other people's personal space. And so, just learn to protect and block yourself from these types. Don't enter the boxing ring. If they go over the line, don't go over the line. Begin to understand where your line is, and then just be able to protect it visually, as well as for what kind of noise you have in your atmosphere, because these people are the very immature who will try to create whispers like right by your desk, and then wonder, am I supposed to be overhearing them? Am I supposed to be included? Am I not in this group? Am I supposed to, they create an in-out where there was none. They create a division where there was none. They create a separation and a tension and a sort of questioning atmosphere that can be very pressurized, which is not good for the workplace. And it should, if it becomes really excessive, this can become really aggressive and hostile, meaning it's repeated and consistent. It's ongoing and consistent. And you have to understand that how your body processes these toxicities, especially at work where you're already supposed to be in focus. If you are armoring up your body, you're going to throw off especially your alignment in your vertebrae, your back, and in the cervical area. So if you're trying to, move over this way, adjust, adapt, always, all these different things, you have to be very careful. If you're armoring your tension, you're holding it in your shoulders, you're bracing yourself, it creates a lot of, blockage of the energy and constriction of the muscles, causing them to tense up. And, neurochemically, the flow process of, the cellular metabolism gets affected, removal of waste, the lactic acid buildup. There's a scientific basis, for its effects on you. So it's really important that you take this serious. So, really be aware that there are going to be these types of people. The larger the workplace, the larger the numbers, etc. And in specific departments or positions likewise. But remember, that your focus and your dedication and your strengths and your ethics and your integrity and what you bring are important for you to keep in perspective. And don't be surprised if they try to null, void, make those not shine, not give you, try to block you from your own advancements. I mean, just make sure that you are keenly aware and play it smart. Protect yourself. Don't be so freely giving to these types. Don't give your power away. Don't give your credibility away. Don't give, your backbone away. Keep yourself upright. Begin to observe. And if there's issues, then it needs to be made in check. You have the right to be able to focus on your work. So be willing to make sure you also have the accommodations in your workplace where you can focus, where, the lighting is good, the noise protection, all those other basic elements so you can do your job successfully and then move up the ladder as you see fit or you desire. But you should be able to have, relationships and business, colleagues who you can trust and not feel fearful of them always trying to outdo you, outshine you, trying to put you in the shadows all the time. Just don't fall for that misery, and make sure you know your strengths. So, and then sometimes with a narcissist, you have to be able to keep it to yourself. Because if they don't want to share in your strengths, that says more about the narcissist than it does really anything about yourself as a character flaw or as a weakness or something that's wrong about you. Always remember that. It's your buddy, Peace and Harmony, with you here today, and I hope that these videos do help. Please share, please subscribe, and please donate for more great tools, videos, discussion, and support. Peace be with you, and have a beautiful day. Good luck.